So we went on a road trip. I'm sitting in Pretoria North now. It was from Cape Town, about 1,400 kilometers, a little bit more, and we used charge along the way. So let's talk about it a little bit and then wait for the summary. But indeed, I'm not too sure if South Africa is still ready for EV road trips like this. Although we had a lot of fun, it can also become very frustrating. So it will be all about the way you see things and what you want to get out of your holiday. Okay, so there's our map. Bellville area, Cape Town area up to Pretoria North. A little bit over 1,400 kilometers. I'm going to take you through some of the places we slept over. I'll show it to you on a nice spreadsheet. Hopefully you can see what I'm referring to. So in this spreadsheet you can see this is where we fueled up. So that is our stops mainly. And yes, it's you can see the totals there with the cost. We started off in Sanlamhof, its head office. Very good facility to charge. It's free, it's fast. So there we topped up. The next stop, we went to through Worcester. We had a nice day with friends. We had a lovely visit with them in Worcester, and then from there at night time you can see you can't see that we went to Laingsburg and we stayed over. Okay, so the stay over was quite a nice stay over. I'll try and show that to you as well. Okay, there's the stay over. We stayed over. Well, we used Airbnb. I want to say, of course, you can probably use Lackerslop as well. And we stayed over the Grand Hotel. It's one station road, Laingsburg. Quite a lot of stay. So I think that's bringing a new dimension to this as well, where you might end up visiting these places, spending some time again on the road, where otherwise it's just from point A to point B. Okay, so yes, we had a lovely stay. Beautiful place. I'm giving you opportunities to stay over at destinations you might not have seen in a long time. Because that was our first night in Laingsburg. The next morning, I went to the charging station within walking distance. I drove the car and walked back to the hotel, had a nice breakfast, and waited. What did we see there? It was about 2 hours breakfast, so it takes long. So nice 2 hour breakfast. And something learned maybe there is that if you have the luxury of charging at night, rather do that if you want to get away early in the morning, because we only popped out of Laingsburg at 9:30. Then hitting the road, I'm starting to realize that the fuel consumption is quite high. So yes, now we ended up driving more in a sweet spot of about 105 kilometers per hour with the R23. It might differ, of course, what vehicle you have. And we hit the road and got to Beaufort West. And Beaufort West, we stopped over and realized the machine's broken. One of the gentlemen came and said it's been broken for the last 6 months. So sad news for grid cars. Your information is not always that correct, and you can get people stranded. I do hope, going back to Beaufort West, that it was properly reported and that it was locked, that we don't get deceived there. Then we had to drive back, a little bit of a detour, a couple of minutes, realizing that only one charger and the beautiful BMW XI was plugged in, a nice 2 million car I think, and he still had 30 minutes left of charging. We were fortunate enough, we just plugged in and another BMW XI came past, and they had to wait. How long did we charge there? You can see we charged for an hour and a half. So the two gentlemen had an hour and a half. They also had a good attitude about it. Road trip, two cousins. So great attitude. You need a great attitude to go on these road trips. And they were just a bit, as they mentioned to the other BMW driver, utterly disappointed about the fuel consumption. So if you spend 2 million rands, maybe you will be utterly disappointed if you drive 350 kilometers and you expect it to only stop every 500. Our car more of an entry level, so I guess for myself my expectations are less, but yes, it can be quite a downside to your travels if you don't get the mileage you expected. Okay, so that was Beaufort West. Then we got back in the road again, and we entered Richmond. And Richmond was quite, I must say, a fun stop. The speed was good. We were sitting there on grass area. Boy played around a little bit on the grass. I think it just wasn't. It's a nice, proper, laid-back stop. Friendly people, and that stop was, how long was that stop? It was actually an hour as well. Then we went through to Colesberg. A little bit of confusement there, so it's also a learning curve that we drove past Colesberg to get to a quickest charger, just to realize it's an offline charger and we weren't issued with an RFID card. So it's not stock standard these days that you get issued the RFID card, because people think you can get right with the app, but that might be something we will order from Grid Cars to get past that headache that we can be stuck and not use a charger. So we turned back 8k's back. We always planned to go through to Bloemfontein, but that curveball left us a little bit straight at Colesberg, tired of Beaufort West, walking through a really hot mall for hours. Hot today, I'm tired, too many tours maybe. So we looked for accommodation in Colesberg. We find very interesting, nice accommodation in Colesberg. Often we had an hour at least to look for that, so we popped out about 8:30 to sleep over in Colesberg. We quite enjoyed that. I quite enjoyed that. The place is called, I'll show you. The place is called Sleepover. They're in different regions, and don't be deceived by the looks initially. It's just so funky. It's self-sustaining container units. It's just a fun place to stay. It's beautiful inside, very neat. You've got everything, your aircon, you're in a very nice bed. It's just a fun, interesting activity place to stay. They say workstations, free Wi-Fi. In one of the previous videos, I will even show you that they're going to get a charge as well. Not about sure about the speed, but that was a good experience to have their sleepover travel at Colesberg. Okay, so on so that was now the second day, of course. From there it felt a little bit, I think, more downhill. Initially I thought the distance will be longer, so Grid Cars, I think the distance was initially incorrect. Fortunately it was shorter than expected, so we stopped at Bloemfontein, a casino. That was amazing, great speed, great spur, great playing area for the little one. I think I had a beer there, maybe. Well, I wanted a beer there. Not sure if I had a beer there. At Richmond I had one beer, a nice Castle Light, to just cool down a bit. At Bloemfontein we had an hour fast charging. It was just a fun place, good place to stop over. Free parking as well at this stage. We left Ventersburg. That was interesting. We popped in, there was a Sea Lion 6 that was charging, just topping up. Fortunately we had the second DC charger, so we plugged in, and then surprise, a new Chinese company that wants to enter the market, Africa, had two black unmarked cars popping by. So if you want to know what they look like, photos, you have to ask me to create more content maybe. But yes, they popped in afterwards. So these two cars had to wait how long? An hour. Well, half an hour for the other one, the Sea Line 6 one to open up, an hour for us. I think on their side, they were also, the drivers were a bit disappointed about the speed. And then they had the engineer that was sitting, I think a bit bored in the car, but he's doing his work, and they're going to have to put on 10,000 kilometers on the car. And the drivers, I think, expected the trip is going to take much longer than expected, having to stop every 2-3 hours for an hour, or 2 or 3, depending on how long you have to wait. So fortunately we didn't queue there, but that maybe is where I started to realize that I'm starting to form an opinion on long distance trips here. Then we left there. We went parked at a quick stop. It was just topping up, 20 minutes, quick charging at Rurepoort Hotel, because we were so close to our finish, and we finished up, and there we go. So cost wise, what's the summary? What is the summary? So the summary for me will be typically that it's a difficult one. At this stage, if you have the time, if it's a lot of fun, if you enjoy traveling, go for it. If you're not prepared to wait, if you're an impatient person, be very careful. So for long distance EV trips, South Africa infrastructure is not quite there yet. The charging is slow compared to what you need. The speed's typically 20 kilowatt to 30 kilowatt, and there's a lot of cars out there with a 70 kilowatt range. It's going to take you 3 hours to load. The charging can be quicker, so even if we have 70 kilowatt or 100 kilowatt chargers, it will take an hour, but we have at this stage none that I've seen. They're basically all slow chargers. So if you've got a 70 kilowatt or 50 kilowatt, you're going to wait an hour, 2 hours every single stop. So the infrastructure is not there yet. So the speed is slow, and there's not enough stations either because we're queuing. If it weren't a quiet time of the holiday, I think we would have much more problems. So the down trip, I'm not sure if I'm going to make a video, because the down trip it might be busier and we might be stuck a bit more. Unfortunately, we know the ins and outs a little bit more, but that's going to be the reality. So it was a really fun trip up. It's going to be a really fun trip down. And will I do it soon? That's going to depend on the down trip, but I'll have to be very brave and have enough time to do another trip. Back home, great. We've got great chargers, free chargers. We can charge free at home, no issue. We can charge every day. But a long trip like this, it can be a very long trip if you add all the time together and the distance of travel. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons for more content to come your way.